ADRIAN Newey is building something different. Not just faster, not just lighter, but smarter. And this time, he's not constrained by Red Bull systems, or blocked by legacy infrastructure. At Aston Martin, he has total freedom. And according to insiders, the 2026 car isn't just a step forward. It's a clean break, a new philosophy. One that could turn every other team's development plan into scrap. The terrifying part? This time, he's not just designing a car. He's designing a way to win. Before the season even starts, Aston Martin isn't chasing the midfield anymore. That era is over. The team that once measured success by top 6 finishes is now being quietly described as a title threat. And it's not just because of the car. It's because of who's inside the building. ADRIAN Newey didn't walk into an empty workshop. He walked into a team that had already been hand-built to serve the kind of design freedom he's never truly had. Dan Fallows, ex-Red Bull. Eric Blandon, ex-Mercedes. Luca Ferbato, strategy, development, and operations. Each of them already reshaping how Aston Martin works, before Newey even arrived. But now? Now the system is aligning behind a single vision. Newey's not just offering suggestions. He's redefining how the entire car is conceived. From the cooling layout to the way software communicates with the hybrid systems. And what's more, the team is built to let him do it. Lawrence Stroll gave him 3 things he didn't have at Red Bull. Total influence over vehicle philosophy, a clean slate for 2026, and a team structured around long-term execution, not short-term headlines. It's a rare situation in Formula One, where the infrastructure, leadership, and design philosophy are all moving in the same direction. There's no boardroom tension, no technical politics, just a single mission. Build the most adaptive, intelligent, and regulation-proof car possible for 2026. And if that sounds dangerous, that's because it is. From the outside, the factory looks the same. But inside, something's shifted. Processes that used to run in parallel now run together. Decisions that took weeks are now happening in hours. Under Newey, Aston Martin has restructured the entire creative cycle. In most teams, aerodynamicists wait for packaging data. Chassis engineers wait for cooling requirements. And simulation teams are last in line, reacting to decisions they weren't part of. But that hierarchy doesn't exist here anymore. Newey has flipped the process. Now, every concept begins as an integrated idea. No one leads. No one waits. The flow of information is circular. Feedback loops that run live across departments, validating multiple ideas at once. Insiders say that even the 2026 sim work feels strange, because it's no longer simulating one car at a time. Instead, Aston Martin is testing systems of behavior. Engine response under real-time thermal load. Suspension deflection in corners that don't even exist yet. Deployment maps built around future tire models. They're not reacting to the regulations. They're building for what the sport is about to become. And when rival teams try to replicate it, they're already 2 steps behind. Because Newey's car doesn't just need to be fast. It needs to think fast. And if this structure holds, that's exactly what it's going to do. The 2026 regulations are supposed to level the playing field. Standardized components. 2 aero modes. Energy deployment limits. The rulebook looks tight, on paper. But Newey doesn't look at rules the way most people do. He doesn't ask what the regulations prevent. He asks what they forget to define. And that's where the twist begins. Because while the FIA is focused on outputs, aero switch timing, energy limits, tire offsets, Newey is building something upstream. Something the regulations don't touch. Decision logic. There's no rule that says how a car must decide to switch aero modes. No restriction on what kind of data informs energy deployment, as long as the output passes through FIA-approved control hardware. So what happens when the car has already decided how to behave in the corner, before the driver even turns in? That's not cheating. That's intelligence. And right now, it's legal. Insiders suggest Aston Martin is developing a system that blends simulation feedback, historical corner behavior, and real-time environmental data to predict optimal behavior, not respond to it. And if that's true, then the AMR26 isn't just a car. It's a logic engine. One that can make decisions faster than a human. And the scariest part? The rulebook has no language for stopping that. Everyone's waiting to see if the AMR26 is fast. But they're asking the wrong question. Because the real threat isn't top speed. It's development speed. Newey hasn't just built a car philosophy. He's built a process. And that process is now running faster than any team expected. While rivals are still testing concepts in isolated steps. Aero first, then cooling, then software. Aston Martin is feeding all 3 into a unified loop. One upgrade enters the system, and within 48 hours, the full impact on balance, temperature, and energy flow is already modeled. That doesn't just save time, it multiplies progress. Other teams need a full race weekend to validate changes. Aston Martin can do it in simulation, in 2 environments, before Friday practice even begins. And that gap compounds. When a rival team finds a problem on Saturday, they're locked in. They patch it for the next race. Aston? They're already running the fix, in sim, before the car even returns to the garage. It's not flashy. It won't show up in a single lap time. But over the course of a season, that time advantage becomes lethal. Because the car that learns faster doesn't need to be perfect on day 1. It just needs to evolve faster than everyone else. And right now, only one team is built to do that. Ferrari was the first to show cracks. They haven't said it out loud, they never do. But internally, timelines have already shifted. Aerodynamic updates planned for late 2025 are being fast-tracked. Not because of performance targets, but because they don't know what Aston Martin is about to drop. Engineers close to Maranello have described a growing unease. Not panic, but something colder. The realization that by the time they understand what Newey's built, it may already be too late to respond. At Mercedes, it's even more complex. Their power unit program, once considered the best prepared for 2026, is now under review. Not because the numbers are wrong, but because the assumptions behind those numbers may no longer apply. If Aston Martin's car adapts logic in real time, then energy deployment curves, temperature profiles, and hybrid integration must be modeled dynamically. Mercedes built for performance. Newey is building for response. And Red Bull? They're silent. Which is telling. Because no team knows Newey's design patterns better than them. And yet, they've said nothing. No dismissals. No warnings. Just a strategic silence, while their internal structure is being quietly reviewed. A new control layer is being tested. Not for 2025. For 2026. Because even with their success, Red Bull knows, more than anyone, what happens when ADRIAN NEWEY sees the rulebook and starts to write between the lines. And now that he's free to shape a team around his process, they know what could be coming next. There's no press release, no leaked render, no bombshell quote from the paddock. But the silence around Aston Martin's 2026 project? It's not normal. And in this sport, silence is rarely innocent. Teams talk when they're confident. They brief journalists. They drop hints. But when the whispers stop, when even rival engineers don't know what to prepare for, that's when you know something's coming. And right now, that something is ADRIAN NEWEY's next machine. The question isn't whether it'll be fast. That's almost expected. The question is what else it will be. Smarter? More responsive? Capable of rewriting the way an F1 car behaves under pressure? Because if this project delivers even half of what it's built to do, then 2026 won't be a reset. It'll be a rupture. A clean break from the past. From how teams design, simulate, and even think about Formula One. And Newey won't just be the man who mastered the last era. He'll be the one who built the next one. The rest of the grid? They're not racing against Aston Martin anymore. They're racing against time.